Pull up a chair, gals, because it is snippet time. Hello, gals, and welcome to Sober Living Snippets, where we do our best to get to alcohol-free living so we can heal our relationships, feel youthful again, and ditch regret and shame and all those negative emotions. We look at the past and we get healthy and we get happy. And I know that all sounds like it's a long ways away if you're still drinking, but that's what we do around here. So stick around. Your turn is coming. Gals, I'm Becca Jacobson and I have a snippet for you. Are you surprised? What, a snippet? Never thought it would be a snippet. I thought it was going to be something else. Well, it isn't. It's a snippet. Today, I want to ask you a question, and I want you to think carefully before answering it, please. Are you prone to complaining? Now, this could be out loud, but it also could be just mentally. We're going to talk about both. And when we complain, it's the same as asking for the thing that we don't like to keep happening. Right? Let me say that again. When we complain, it's the same as asking for the thing we don't like to keep happening. First of all, just to go old school, complaining is like, nobody likes it. You're a complainer. But let's take this a step higher. If we go higher level than just that, just the fact that, complain, and it's annoying to people and gets us nowhere. The truth of the matter is that when we're complaining, either out loud or just in our minds, we're reinforcing the reality that we're experiencing and ensuring that it will continue. Like, wow, I wish I'd known that. You see, I thought if I complained enough about my drinking, it would somehow magically go away. And that's one of the many things that kept me stuck all those years, all those decades. Complaining sinks the problem deeper into our subconscious. It reinforces it even lighter, just mentally, but also in the subconscious. And I'm just talking about complaining to ourselves. Complaining out loud to others is a whole nother problem that we can definitely include in this. And most of us try not to do that. We're mature, we're professional women. We know that complaining isn't a very good way to walk through the world. It makes us look bad. And so we don't want to look bad. Maybe we complain a bit at home with our partners, but even that, you don't want to be the complaining partner. And so most of us try not to do that too much out loud in front of others and walk through the world being the complainer. But what about internally? What about when you're alone? If you're complaining about your life, then you're reinforcing it. And so let's just actually stop right here. What do I even mean by complaining? I think I actually mean more than sort of just, I wish this wasn't happening, or if only this wasn't happening, or why does this keep happening, or why does this person keep doing that, or why is the traffic going so slow, or why is it still raining? That's complaining, yes. But I'm also talking about even lighter than that, just this sort of, in inside, this feeling inside, like, why is this happening? That's going to help to reinforce it. So let's talk about what this has to do with drinking. Let's talk about what this has to do with being happy, about healing relationships, about feeling youthful, about all of it. And I'm sure that you can imagine, and you're thinking, yeah, okay, I got it. I get it, Becca. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Snippet's over. Let's carry on. But no, let's dig in here. Our thoughts create our reality. I've talked about this a bit in the past, but you're going to hear me talk about it a lot more. And I really want to start moving in the direction of helping you understand how to create the reality that you want through your thoughts, through your journaling, through your interactions with others. But we have to first understand that our thoughts, just the thoughts we habitually think, create our reality. Now, when I say that, you might be going, yeah, I've heard of the whole manifestation thing because it's all over, the social media. I've heard of it. I've read some books on that. I get it. But here's the thing. We think that when we complain, The reality was there first, and then we started complaining about it. But if you could trace this back far enough and carefully enough, you would discover that the thing that you're experiencing is there because you complained about it. In other words, as you complain today, you create tomorrow's reality. So what you're experiencing that you don't like has come from your own thoughts in the past, your own thoughts and behaviors in the past. Now, I'm sure we get this. I drank last week. That's why I feel like crap this week. But this is a bit deeper than that. I recently did a snippet on negative self-talk, and this is all part of that, right? If we have mental or verbal negative self-talk, it drags us down. Well, this applies to all of our reality. Complaining about anything is completely pointless. And for some people, you know what that means? It means they have nothing to talk about. They literally have nothing to talk about. I know people in my world who, if you removed the complaining, they'd have nothing to say. And I often wonder, what would you talk about if you never complained? And complaining is sneaky. It's insidious. It's not just outright, oh, the weather sucks. But it can be sly. It can be unrecognizable at times. We don't even recognize we're doing it, that we're actually pushing against the world in which we live. Let's look at it that way. Let's define what I'm talking about here as that, as complaining as pushing against the world in which you live. Either verbally pushing against it, emotionally pushing against it, mentally pushing against it in your journal. All of those are going to help maintain this reality that you don't like. Some teachers of reality creation, the ones that I subscribe to, teach that we can create our reality by thinking, saying, and behaving the way in which we would if the reality we want already existed. And this can be difficult because sometimes we're acting in ways that the reality in front of us doesn't even match. In other words, I'm going to behave as though I have a very happy, healthy life. Meanwhile, the evidence in front of you is to the contrary right now. Perhaps you're drinking too much. Perhaps you haven't had the exercise you need. Maybe your diet's not where it should be. And so you're thinking, well, how can I walk around going, I feel great, I'm healthy, I'm happy? That sounds like one of those affirmations where we're just lying to ourselves. So what is the difference between this and parroting affirmations, and how do we take our complaining and use it to our advantage? Well, the first thing we can do is remember that we've decided, because we live in snippet land, and if you haven't heard this yet because you're new, that's okay. You're learning all the ins and outs in snippet land, because in snippet land we don't do fluff. So there are certain foundational and fundamental things that the women who live in snippet land agree to use to mold the lives they want. And one of them is that we find a way to understand and really dig in and see that life is happening for us and not to us. If you're new and you've never heard me say that one before, life is happening for you, not to you. That means that everything that's happening is put there to help you grow in some way. And so to complain about it is like saying, well, thanks for the lesson in patience, but it's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Like, are we going to complain about the lesson that's been given us? Let's just use patience as an example. What if you know you're impatient and let's say you pray, you say, help me to be more patient. Or you just say to yourself, I want to learn how to be more patient. Do you know what's going to happen the minute you do that? All sorts of circumstances are going to come into your life that frustrate you. What for? To help you be patient. This is why we really got to watch what we ask for. So when we say, I want to be more patient, we're not given more patience. We're given circumstances that we can use to learn patience. And this is everything in our lives. Whatever we need to learn, whether we've asked for it consciously or it's just something that's coming up because we need to learn it even if we're not aware of it, all of it is for our growth. And so when we complain, we're just saying, no, that's not quite what I wanted. Let's do this differently. I asked for help, but I'd prefer it this way. Who's in charge around here? Well, the truth of the matter is you should be in charge of your thoughts. You get to decide the thoughts you think, the things you write in your journal, and the way you respond to your world. So I hope you can see how to complain about anything that comes into your life on any given day is not only a waste of time, but a lost opportunity. Oh, I had the opportunity to see this thing that was coming here that I don't like and approach it in a way to say, okay, what's the lesson? How can I learn what I need to learn here and move past this so I don't have to learn it again? Instead, we complain, and then the thing gets bigger, it gets stronger, it comes back in different forms, it's reinforced, and we're creating the reality that we don't want, which was how I started this snippet. When we complain, we create the reality that we're complaining about. Gals, I hope this helps you get through today, thinking about how much you complain, looking at it, watch for it, pay attention. It just begins with awareness and willingness. I'm going to try today to not complain so much. And by the way, in case you were wondering, does Becca never complain? Well, I'm not inviting you to ask my husband. Look, we're all works in progress, including me. But I do know this much. Sharing with you helps me to remember too. So all of us hearing this today, including me saying this today, let's make today the day we become more aware of our level of complaining. And instead, we keep a sharp eye out for what the circumstances are trying to teach us so we can grow just a little bit closer to the life that we are craving. And by the way, to just loop this back to alcohol, if you're complaining about your drinking, you're making sure it's going to keep on. This just applies to alcohol. Stop complaining about alcohol and instead say, no matter what, I am going to find a way to overcome this problem. If that feels like a lie, tone it down a bit. Sooner or later, I'm going to find a way. Or I'm determined to figure this out. Whatever works for you. Lying affirmations don't help us, but find something that you can say that is not a complaint about drinking, but instead some sort of projection to a better future. Thanks for grabbing your snippet today, gals. And if you want to come deeper into snippet land, please feel free to go to the show notes and sign up for my Sober Living letters. They come through on Mondays. They're a deeper dive into snippet land. I also send out my guides via email, other goodies, invitations to free events. Signing up for the Sober Living letters, in short, brings you deeper into snippet land and a closer connection to me in the lightest, easiest possible way. No scariness, no pressure. Just more of this, more helping you move in the direction that you want to go. So get in there and make sure that I have your email so I can send you the goodies that I know you want. Thanks for grabbing your snippet today, gals. Have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Thanks for popping in. Be sure to come back tomorrow so we can keep your head on straight. Sending you buckets of love.